Welcome back to the 80s Cinema Club, where this week on episode 29, we go into our Halloween spooky special October with Nightmare on Elm Street, released in 1984. I think you have the synopsis, Alfie.
I do indeed. I don't know why it started going on drums there. That was a bit weird, that Halloween music. Anyways, yeah, so obviously today we're doing A Nightmare on Elm Street. It was directed by Wes Craven and starred Heather Langenkamp as Nancy, Johnny Depp as Glenn. Right, these have some proper weird names, I'll be honest. Amanda Wyss as Tina, J.U.S. Garcia as Rod, and Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. And the plot summary is as follows. Several teenagers fall prey to Freddy Krueger, a disfigured midnight mangler who preys on teenagers in their dreams, which, in turn, kills them in reality. After investigating the phenomenon, Nancy suspects that a dark secret kept by her friends, parents, and her own parents may be the key to unravelling the mystery. However, can Nancy and her boyfriend Glenn solve the puzzle before it's too late?
Not really. I mean, Glenn definitely couldn't.
Yeah, Glenn, I mean, spoiler alert, but, he didn't
might
quite
die.
make it. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Poor guy. So it made... So I've almost skipped ahead there. Had a budget of 1.1 million. Pretty low, I'd say.
Yeah.
How much do you think it made?
I only know that it made its money back in its opening weekend, but I don't know what it did after that. So I'm going to say, 21 million.
It made 57 million.
Jeez, it made 57 million.
Which is ridiculous. I had to double check it. And
That's
it
insane. Because this is the film that saved New Line Cinema from bankruptcy.
Oh, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah. So that
it was the house built by Freddy Krueger that called the studios after that.
Yeah. Gosh, that is...
It's kind of insane, isn't it?
That's a lot.
Load of money.
Likes and dislikes. Did you like anything about this film, Alfie?
Yeah, actually. It's really sort of the first horror slasher film that I've watched. I've not really ever been super into the genre, but this is pretty great. I thought that the special effects were, I think it's kind of hard to not say good things about the special effects in this because it kind of sold the entire thing for me, I'd say.
I know I was very... Because obviously all the films we do being coming out in the 80s, special effects were, they're not like they are now. You can pull them off for still pretty expensive, but people have the budgets for them. And when they don't, we get, things like... what's a film we've done that didn't have good special effects?
The film we've done, Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, yeah, and you could kind of tell... But I mean, they're a bit cornier, so it kind of works. But this, they look really good, and I was really impressed because this is 1984, and we've done films that have come out after this, and their special effects look worse. And I think they only had a budget for the special effects of something like $50,000.
Yeah, I mean, given that the budget was only $1 million, and they managed to produce 4-ish sequences with really involved special effects. Is pretty
so there's the pushing through the wall effect when Nancy's in bed in Tina's house, and that was achieved by putting, I think it was a latex wrap over a hole in the wall or something.
Cool.
So they obviously colour matched it, and then one of the stunt coordinators or whatever, or special effects coordinators, just pushed through it. Other things like Tina's death, the first person to die.
Yeah.
Other than just blood miraculously appearing on her body after she's been knifed in her dreams, she then gets swung around the room in the air.
I know, it's kind of insane, isn't it?
Which really I think was done with a rotating room or something like that.
Okay.
That's why that's why Rod's on the floor all the time.
Right, yeah.
Then Nancy's obviously very iconic bath scene. That sounds awful, but it is.
Yeah.
When she gets dragged under, and it looks like a bottomless, basically looks like a bottomless ocean. They basically had a water tank and covered it in black paint.
That's cool.
So, it looked like that. And the dissolving stairs.
Yeah.
There is quite a controversy around what they actually used. When I say controversy, it's just everybody says something different. So a lot of people said it was like oatmeal. and a lot of other people said it was like wallpaper paste or something, and
Right.
like no one's given like a definitive answer. Or some people says, oh, it was just all of them.
You got to keep the secrets in. When you said
Yeah.
controversial, I thought it was going to be something like really wrong.
No, no, it wasn't like they
Like
didn't
almost
make
like,
it
I
with
don't know,
asbestos. I
gallons
meant,
and gallons of, I don't know, like what, wood solvent or something.
yeah, no, it was stuff
Okay.
that was safe for the actors, but nobody can seem to give a straight answer on what it was.
Yeah, but I think, like I said, that the special effects definitely sort of sold the whole thing. I mean, at first when
Yeah.
you see Freddy introduced with his massive, long arms, I read that that was actually done using puppet arms attached to Robert Englund,
Oh, when he's in the
operated with
alleyway and
friction
he's like
wire.
scraping.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
like,
his
yeah.
arms are like 12 feet across, and it's huge. It's
Yeah.
kind of intense.
I put the scene at the beginning where we first see Tina dreaming, and
Oh
you
yeah.
kind of get the introduction to Freddy. I feel like because you absolutely, because I mean, like you have no idea what's going on.
No, definitely
Like,
not.
and you may know who Freddy Krueger is, like, cause just from growing up, But if you haven't watched the film before, it's quite like, whoa, why is
Yeah,
she running? Who's this? And you get like the flashes of, this just disfigured man, and you're like, what,
yeah.
like,
What's actually going on? It really drops you
and then
into it really fast.
and then obviously when she wakes up, she has the slash marks in her like 90 or whatever.
Oh
So
yeah.
kind of like, whoa,
What's going on there? Yeah.
what's kind of going on here?
I think it definitely is a really effective way to start the whole thing, because it's that fact of that even the people in the film don't really know what's going on for largely all of it, and even at the end they're still not entirely sure as to what's going on.
Yeah.
It's that air of, I don't know, mystery and threat kind of.
So yeah, I said so like going back to kind of the special effects, I thought specifically like the deaths in the film looked good.
Yeah, they really did.
So like Tina's death is like it kind of comes out of nowhere, like
Yeah, you don't really
because you,
expect it from
you
us.
think like Rod's gonna wake her up, and then he takes like the bed sheet off, and she's been like sliced by Freddy's knife fingers, and
Yeah,
then just literally starts getting thrown around the room and like dragged across the
spraying
ceiling.
blood
And
everywhere.
there's like blood going everywhere and stuff, and it's like, whoa, this is this is a bit
Mm.
different.
It's really intense, isn't it? I think that's the best way to describe the deaths. Really, they're all really just.
Yeah,
It's funny because in one way, it's so over the top that it's slightly funny with some of them. Like
yeah.
Johnny's death later on in the film. How much blood was inside Johnny for that much spray to come out constantly? It's quite
Yeah, so
impressive.
Johnny gets dragged into his bed
Yeah,
by Freddy because he falls asleep. But then, like, out of the bed comes like a fireman's hose of
yeah.
like blood.
It's like a massive geyser, isn't it? It's almost like they've just blended up Glenn and kind of thrown him out the top.
I don't. Yeah, I can't. I don't. It looks cool, but it's funny the fact that when like after they've shown obviously the room getting absolutely covered in it,
Oh yeah,
they don't show it again.
yeah.
So
It's pretty great, isn't it?
it's just like Nancy's dad goes up to look. He looks in the room. We don't see him like looking. He just walks back out.
True. Imagine trying to keep that sort of room looking grim for all the sets you'd need to, or takes you'd need to do, really.
Yeah, because they already said that the coroner went in and just left and started throwing up.
Yeah,
The person who looks at these things all the time.
and that was too much for him.
Yeah.
You've got, well, I mean, to be fair, Rod's death isn't quite as gruesome, but it is still fairly well done because he gets hung invisibly, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Kills that
so, Freddy wraps up the bed sheets like
Yeah.
perfectly, makes him into a noose, and then ties him up on the. I mean, I don't. He really didn't. I think Freddy hung him, but also snapped his neck pretty quickly
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
because as soon as he got hung up in the air, he died.
Yeah, it wasn't like
So,
a
like-
choking thing.
Like I know, it sounds awful, but hanging is supposed to break your neck. Like
Yeah.
that's what if you were to be dropped by. But you would because of the way it's done, he'd probably die of asphyxiation first. So the
Yeah.
fact that his neck got snapped may be a bit like, ooh, what's
Ugh,
going on
yeah,
here?
that's true. Let me see. What else have I got? I did quite like how the story wasn't too overly complicated, that they didn't try and do an awful lot with it. I think that a lot of the times, say for example, Prince of Darkness, I know it's a very different film, but watching that, it sort of tries to go for a horror-ish thing, but they just do too much and overcomplicate it. So it was quite nice how
Yeah.
this was just one clear-cut story the whole way through.
Was like from the beginning, you knew something was happening until the end. It was kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, because you have it's quite ironic that I think Nancy's the person at the start who says, "Oh, everybody has bad dreams sometimes,"
Yeah,
and
dismissing it
then
all.
she's the one at the end who's like, fighting Freddy.
Yeah, literally the only one left after all of her friends have died to this thing.
I also just put down that I am, so Nancy was the final girl of this film.
Yeah,
That's what usually like the trope of these types of films, and I thought she did quite a good job. Because it's quite a younger cast
it is, isn't it? Really,
compared. Well, I say the actual people playing the characters are in their 20s, which is pretty funny.
that's true.
But
Yeah,
all the characters are like 15.
yeah, it's like high school kids, isn't it? I think.
But like,
I'm not
and I thought usually it's more stereotypical and like of conventions in these films, like to get like 18-year-olds.
Yeah, sort of people at the edge of adulthood, sort of stuff.
I know, which which was kind of. I mean, it was good in some parts because I liked the like less mature girl going up against Freddy, I guess, because
Yeah,
it was kind of like he was actually fighting kids then.
yeah, literally.
Um, we said about the special effects, but I have to mention the fire stunt,
Oh yeah,
which was totally practical, and
insane, isn't it?
the stunt man, who you can tell isn't Freddy because he's a lot chubbier than if you look closely. But
Very much
so
so.
Freddy gets set on fire. He then chases Nancy up the stairs, gets to the top of the stairs, rolls down the stairs, and then goes back up the stairs again.
Yeah,
Um, so he was on fire. He won Stunt of the Year for
yeah.
that
I
scene
mean, you should do.
because he was on fire for probably over 30 seconds. Because the original stunt was supposed to be he gets lit on fire, he goes to the top of the stairs, and he's supposed to get put out there, but he improvised falling down the stairs and walking back up them
Oh man,
because he thought it would look better, which it did.
it definitely
But
did. Yeah, but being
I
on
just gotta
fire
think
for
that's
30
amazing.
seconds is actually insane, isn't it?
I do agree with your point about just the story. It's like it's simple, easy, and it's quite fun to watch. So like you're seeing,
It is, yeah.
Nancy go through all this, and Glenn's still alive for most of it, and they kind of do develop because no one's listening to her, even though all these strange things are happening.
Yeah,
And you have to see her going through, which I think is quite like it's not like a deep messaged film, but it gives more of a layer to the character than just like because in these films you tend to get like weak personalities or
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just like pieces of meat for like the killer to get, you
essentially,
know.
yeah.
But like some of them tend to have a bit more of a story to them, which was nice.
Yeah, I can definitely get that. They'd had, for all it wasn't seen with quite a lot of them, because like Nancy and Rod died fairly early on, and well, Rod didn't die too early on, but wasn't in most films he was arrested. You did
Yeah,
see a decent amount of character between Glenn and Nancy,
yeah,
which I thought
exactly.
was nice. I mean, obviously, having not seen them very often, but knowing more about horror tropes of it usually just being about the people being there to serve the story rather than actually being a part of it. So it was quite nice to see the two of them having actual character.
And I think it's quite obvious to point out that a big part of this film is Freddy.
Yeah,
And he is like played really well, I
it
think.
really is.
So you obviously he's more of like he's more of apparently he's more of a silent killer in this one than he is
Alright.
in the others. So obviously there was moments of it in this one where he cuts off his fingers and that, and things like that, and it's kind of showing like his mischievous side in a way. I don't know how else to put it.
I
It's like
totally get what you mean.
maniacal and evil, but
Yeah.
like it's he's
He's
making
toying
fun
with
of
them
it.
essentially, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's playing with his food, I guess. He doesn't
Yeah.
eat them, but that kind of
I
sense.
mean, we never know. That might be
Aye,
why
true.
Glenn was spat out a load of blood. He only
Just
wants the meat.
don't think there would be that much blood in him.
No, surely there wasn't. That was way too much.
I don't have many likes for the film because I genuinely watched it and thought this is all right. The
Yeah.
characters, have enough development for something like this, and things like that.
The only other likes that I've got is that the pacing was pretty decent. I thought that it had like a nice eking out of the deaths, though it wasn't sort of like loads at the start and then a really big dry period and then like everyone dying at the end again.
Yeah, there
I
wasn't
felt
like a
like it
big,
sort of
it wasn't like quick succession, then
oh,
like loads of exposition and story and whatever's going on,
it was
and
a
then
nice
like
little
everything else.
flow through, and then the end being
Yeah.
a bit ambiguous. I wasn't too big of a fan of how it ended, but I like the fact that they left it kind of
Well,
open.
we can talk about that.
We can talk
Um,
about it. Oh yeah, in the
so
dislikes.
in the dislikes, mainly a lot of them, like some of these dislikes are things that are just like a trope of the genre.
Yeah.
So like it's like
Okay.
but it is still like more of a dislike on the character I get. But like when Tina goes outside in the dark
Oh
on her
yeah.
own, like wearing pretty much just a t-shirt,
I know,
and
it's
is like
mad, isn't it?
is like she heard someone, she tried to wake Rod up, and then just gave up. So you know what, I'm gonna go outside on my own.
Yeah, she just got sorted
Like,
out herself.
and yes, she was dreaming, but I don't think she knew she was dreaming. That was like the whole
No.
point.
I don't think any of them really knew they were dreaming aside from when
Yeah.
she had the dream.
And then
obviously.
we go back to the part of these actors being like, or the characters even being like 15.
Yep.
And this is another the actors may have been 20s, but there was quite a bit like, so like you go like Rod and Tina, you don't see anything, but they have like sex in the film.
Yeah, really audibly loud as well.
So like in my head, I
A
was
bit
thinking,
weird.
oh, this is just like high school, like late high school 18-year-olds on the news. Tina was a 15-year-old girl. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing to put in the film, isn't it?
And it's like when I mean this one's a bit less, but it's when Nancy gets like dragged under the bath,
Yeah,
like for like a split second you can see, and it's like there's nothing technically wrong with it. It just
yeah.
I
For
just feel
characters
like
it's supposed to
usually
be
when they
15.
do this type of thing in these films, it's like because it's a big thing of this film, like gratuitous nudity just being there, and you don't really see anything in this film exactly, but just the characters are usually a bit older,
Yeah,
so
that's I
you know.
can imagine. That yeah, I didn't really think about it, but now that you mention it, it's a bit of a weird thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know when Nancy is in the dream and
Oh
she
yeah,
in school and Tina's in like the body bag and like
yep.
getting like dragged around. Why does she keep asking for Tina? She knows like
I have
it's
no
like
idea.
it's like she's asking for her like she's alive. Like you've just seen her. Like I know she was alive technically in the bag, right?
Yeah,
But she is dead. Like
yeah, you know she's dead.
there's no. It's
Like,
because
there's
you're going
no
Tina,
disputing that.
Tina, you there?
It's
Tina.
dead.
No, she's not there. She's dead.
She's very very dead. I mean, to be fair, as the person who probably saw her dead body, one of the first people, she's just like, oh no, she could still be alive. All that blood,
Yeah.
the massive gashes. I reckon she could be alive.
Obviously, obviously. I also really didn't like the mother,
Yeah,
Nancy's mother.
I wasn't.
I
a
also
big
found
fan
it pretty
either.
funny that Nancy just called her mother the entire
Yeah,
time.
didn't sort of change any affection. It was always mother, mother, mother.
Yeah. So it was like
God.
the when she brings back Freddy's hat from the dream world,
Oh yeah,
she just doesn't believe her.
no, it's such a weird thing, isn't it? If your
So
daughters woke up with
she
this,
and a group of other parents are actually responsible for the death of Freddy Krueger because he was a child killer.
yeah,
But when she brings the hat back with the initials Freddy Krueger in it, out of nowhere, she's like, "No, this
what?
is fine."
Yeah, she just sort of dismissed it, saying, "No, I don't know how you did it, but it doesn't matter."
And like she has like Freddy's glove as well and things like that.
Yeah,
And you know she's
exactly.
she's a raving alcoholic. You
God,
know.
she really is in that last part, isn't she? And to be
Oh,
fair, she
there's
says
another one.
people drinking. Well,
Well, yeah, another one was Nancy definitely doesn't set up all them traps, fall asleep, and then get Freddy in 20 minutes.
she talks, she talks to her mum for a couple of minutes, doesn't she, about how let's get some rest. Then somehow sets up an exploding light bulb, a sledgehammer trap, and then prepares a bottle of gasoline and some matches to set them on
Yeah,
fire.
and then on a watch, she sets 10 minutes for herself to
Yeah.
get to sleep and catch Freddy.
And if you think at the end, I'm fairly certain it would have stopped before she grabbed Freddy. Like it was counting down 4 and she was on the porch. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Leaving it in with 3 seconds to try and grab onto him.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it was a very like I know it's just one of those film things, but they couldn't
yeah.
have given her more time.
Yeah, surely, just like a little bit more. Like it wasn't.
Cause she was like, "Dad, break into the house at 12:30." You know,
Yeah,
didn't even do it.
there was
Not
no
gonna.
cut off really, was there? It wasn't like she had to catch him by X time. It was just she could have in theory done it like tomorrow morning, for all they
Yeah,
cared. Like it made
exactly.
no difference. I'm trying to see what else I got. I've got generally that throughout the film the acting was a bit sort of wooden in some scenes.
I think
Especially with
Nancy was
Nancy.
pretty good.
Oh
I
no,
thought she was all right.
I disagreed. I thought Nancy was her acting to me got a little bit boring after a while because she just seemed to be so I don't know
Yeah,
whiny.
like
I guess
yeah,
I get the fact
true.
that
I get what you
Austin's story
mean.
no one's
It
listening
was
to her,
yeah,
but she just sort of I don't know what it was. Just the character didn't really grab me in that much. I think the dynamic
yeah.
between her and Glenn was better, but her on her own, I was just like, oh, just shut up, get going. I wanted
Oh
her to be
yeah.
the first one to die.
Oh
Retrospectively
no.
watching it, I would have rather had a film where it was, I don't know, Tina and Rod going through it.
Yeah, it's not. She's not like she's the main character or anything.
Honestly, yeah, I found it kind of weird at first because the film starts off making it seem like Tina's going to be the main character, obviously with her at the start,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh no, we're going to have Nancy instead. I'm like, all right, fair enough. And then I was just like, oh, she's a bit boring actually.
I didn't find it totally boring, but I get what you mean. It did seem like she was going through a lot of the scenes, and it was a bit like, you know, even though I know she's not getting listened to, like going over the same points to everyone
Yeah.
all the time when she knows they're not listening to her.
And also as well, didn't she say at one point she hadn't slept for like 7 days,
Yeah, yeah.
and she's
She
still
hasn't slept for seven
functioning like
days.
fairly well? I was like,
She's
that's
just
actually
she's
kind
just
of mad.
drinking just drinking from the coffee machine she has under her bed.
Oh, the surprise coffee machine when her mum takes the one out that's already there.
Takes her one
Oh,
out. She
it's
just whips one out,
hilarious.
takes a sip of coffee. Like, all right, that.
Yeah, that kind of broke me out because it felt like a comedy moment. I was like, what is going on? She's just keeping a coffee machine under her
I
bread.
know.
Bread?
This is just
Bed.
how she.
Oh my
7
god.
days. Because she said the record's 11, so I'm doing all
Yeah.
right.
God, by any means, being up for 7 days would never be doing all right, would it?
Yeah, and she literally. I mean, I can't even say like maybe after being awake for 2 days, you'd be running on pure adrenaline. So it's like,
Oh,
yeah, you're actually gonna be all right. You're just gonna be. But then as soon as that day's over, you feel like you just crash
yeah.
because
She would
how
be at
you
that
awake for
point.
seven. How you awake for 7 days?
And she does like physically doesn't look completely destroyed either. She looks the
No,
same as she has throughout the entire film.
exactly. I don't get it.
It is kind of mad. And I like her as well in those 7 days. It's not really shown. They just sort of gloss over. It's like, oh, it's been 7 days.
Yeah, like they
Lash it
gloss
up.
over like a week of time that she's just
Exactly, yeah.
been not sleeping for.
Week of time that, I don't know, could have been used to sort of fulfill more of her planning, maybe. Could
Yeah.
have had 7 days to set up traps instead of 20-ish minutes. Maybe an hour or so.
I mean, I get the whole thing about the 7 days sleep because, right, just bear with me, right? If you knew there was a killer coming to get you in your sleep,
Oh yeah, I wouldn't sleep either.
I don't think you'd want to go to sleep either. But still, 7 days is a lot.
It is. And for it to sort of be such a minor thing that they just sort of go, oh yeah, gloss over that. When everything before happens in 2 days, doesn't it? This
Yeah,
If you had a
it's like
bad 2
everything else. Then just a week passes.
yeah, it's like, oh, you're not fair enough.
Okay,
Like anything else?
big thing for me,
All right.
which genuinely took the film down by a point at least,
Wow. Okay.
was the ending. I hate the ending.
Yeah, I can agree. I like the
I
fact they
absolutely
left
hate
it
it.
open because it was. I mean, ambiguous ends aren't always the worst thing, but the way they did it was pretty bad.
Right, so obviously she wins Freddy because she shows that she's like not scared of him anymore and she turns her back on him. It's
Yeah.
like, he needs that, like, that's what his power is from like the fear of the kids. That's how like he, is able to go into the dreams and kill them and stuff. So I like that bit. But
I thought it was
I
pretty
don't like how then she like walks out and like
Yeah.
everything seems a bit off anyway. She's like, her mum's like, you know what, I'm gonna stop drinking and things like
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
And then she
Everyone's
goes
back alive.
outside and all her friends are alive, and I'm like, okay, I can maybe deal with that. It's not my favorite thing that all those people
Yeah.
who've just died haven't died, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I can deal with it. And then the Freddy Krueger car with like the closes on him, the
Yeah.
convertible goes up, they start driving away. The mum's there just smiling, they're all screaming. And then the worst. So we talked about did they run out of special effects budget?
It's hilarious, isn't it? It's like a mannequin getting pulled. through a
Genuinely,
hole.
we've complimented
Amazing.
so much about how this looked so good, and then that end thing is genuinely one of the worst. Like, it's just a mannequin. They just drag a
genuinely think
mannequin
You
through a
could do that
window.
for like 15 quid and make it look better than it did there.
They dragged a mannequin through. I was like, I don't know. It was kind of thing like, oh, this is still a dream, or that was still a dream. Freddy's actually here, and oh, you don't know what's going on. But no, it was because if this did well, they wanted a sequel, and they didn't want Freddy to be dead.
Yeah.
Like, but I think it really hit like, because I wanted
It does,
Nancy
doesn't
to
it?
be like Nancy has overcome and she's done her arc and she's like,
Yeah,
she's
she's
gonna
had
be
a story.
stronger now. Oh no, wait, she's getting taken away in this
Yeah.
car whether we don't know this is a dream or not.
God,
Like,
it was definitely a weird choice for an end to the film. Like, you could have just left it sort of at that nice end with her thinking Freddy's dead, and then hint that he's not fully dead, and then end it there,
if
and
right,
not
so
do
this
it in
is like
such a
my
cheesy way.
idea, right? If she should have walked out of that door, right, and it could have still cut to like sometime in the future, but it could have just been her like in school somewhere. All her friends are dead, so that's like not very good. But she's in school somewhere, and she falls asleep in like the afternoon sun, and there's just like a picture of Freddy or something,
Yeah,
like
over the
or
shoulder or
like or she
something.
has a dream about Freddy, and she's like, what? And then like it ends. That
Yeah,
would have been a better way for me because I don't like that they rewrote what they'd done in the film.
it was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Especially when, like, there's some films that can do that when the purpose of. So if you have, like, a time travel film, the purpose of the film is to rewrite what's
God,
happened.
yeah. I mean, if you look at
But,
Back to the Future and try and make sense of all those three films,
yeah,
that one,
exactly. But this wasn't that. So I thought it was really weird to end it like that. And I don't
I
know if there's
definitely
people
agree
out
with
there
you.
who really like it because my mum really likes this film. And I did like it. The film
Yeah,
was really good up until the last 30 seconds.
I definitely agree. That last sort of scene kind of took it down. Well, the ending part, not like the actual fight, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
But
that's what I mean. The whole fight thing was really good and
yeah,
things like that. It's just the genuine just end of the film.
true. I mean, to be fair, we say fight, it was more of sort of like a Home Alone chase scene, but yeah,
Yeah, which I kind of like, to be honest.
it was quite good actually. That was a fun.
Okay, then. Ratings, if you've got anything else?
Yeah,
Or
I think that's about me done. So my rating, as we've said, it's I'm going to be saying here that it's got good special effects after we talked for about 3 minutes about the special effects being pretty poor. So
it was
it's
just that
kind
one
of,
mannequin.
oh yeah, just that the mannequin through the window.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, aside from sort of that and just it, I think the film was, again, I say this quite a lot when we watch these films. It was just all right. Like, it was a good
Yeah.
film. You can sit down, you can watch it, and you can enjoy it. Definitely wasn't an amazing film. Like, wasn't the best film of all time, but it wasn't something that I'd never watch again.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to give it a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5. Okay. So I've gone like pretty much the same. It's definitely a film I think I could see myself watching like every year, for like
Yeah.
the spooky time as we're doing here on the 80 Cinema Club and things like that. We won't
80
be watching
Cinema
it
Club
again.
spooky time. Oh my god.
Things like that. It's definitely. I think it did mean a lot because obviously New Line Cinema got to continue because of this, and there's
Yeah.
been many, many more films. Well, I mean, I think there was five more Nightmare on Elm Street
Jesus
films,
Christ. They milked
and
that, didn't
then Wes Craven came back and did Freddy's New Nightmare or something,
they?
which
What
was
on
like
earth?
technically different. And then there was Freddy versus Jason, and then there was the remake of this in like 2010 or
So was
something.
that like 8 separate films then? Something like that.
Yeah, so there's like the second one which is Freddy's Revenge. The third one is called Dream Warriors. I don't know
Ooh.
what the fourth and fifth ones are called, but I think the sixth one is called Freddy's Dead or something.
Oh
But
man.
then in the 90s, just before Wes Craven made Scream, they then made Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
All right.
Uh, and then after that, it was like Freddy versus Jason and stuff.
Gosh.
The Friday the 13th guy.
Yeah.
No, so I gave it a 6.
I was
So
waiting to see when you
yeah,
circle back to
nearly,
your
nearly
actual
forgot.
rating there. All
That's
right.
that's an overall 6.3 for Nightmare on Elm Street,
I think that's about
which
right.
I think is pretty fair. Questions, questions, questions. Are you
Ooh.
ready?
1 minute. Right, I'm ready. Just have to compose
Okay, good.
myself a bit. I was a bit
Yes.
scared after talking about such a horrifying film.
Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
Actually, you know what? You can go first. This hasn't happened ever, I don't think.
Ooh, I don't know.
Breaking
It's all right.
formula?
You ready?
Yeah.
Um,
I was so
wait,
enthusiastic
right.
there.
What was the number on Glenn's jersey the night he died?
Oh, shit. I have no idea.
I mean, it was practically a crop top, but we'll just.
Yeah. I thought
Just
that when I was watching
skip
it.
over
I was like,
that.
it's a bit of an odd wardrobe choice. I wonder if people actually wore that sort of stuff in the 80s, or whether that was Johnny
Probably.
Depp's own personal flair.
Johnny Depp.
I'm not sure.
No.
Um, Gosh, I want to guess like 16.
Is that your guess?
Yeah, you know what? We'll go with that.
You're not too far. It was 10. So
Oh,
it's not awful. It
I
was
knew
in
there was
those
a one
numbers, yeah.
there, but I wasn't
Yeah.
sure what the rest was. All right, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Right. Time
Right
for Harry
then.
to get his 3 questions wrong. Let's
You
go.
can get these right. You can get these right. So when, God, I keep forgetting her name. When Nancy is in the sleep clinic, when her mother takes there because she's, I don't know, freaking out about the fact that her daughter's having so many nightmares, the
Yeah.
doctor hooks her up to a bunch of EEG machines and monitors her when she's starting to fall asleep. And he
Yeah.
says there's one particular thing that's decreasing, that
Oh,
her
no.
something's decreasing.
I was listening to this as well.
Mm.
That's a really hard one. He said loads of things because he was like,
He
"No,
did,
he's
yeah.
entering the deep sea."
That's
So
why I
sleep
chose it. 'Cause I was
decreasing.
like, that'll be really fun.
Her EML levels.
Oh, God. How do you know about EML? It's kind of mad, that. No, it was actually about her beta waves are decreasing,
Nah, I was close.
which I think, I'm not actually sure if that's anything scientific or they just sort of threw words in there. 'Cause I
Well,
swear
yeah,
that's
because he was saying a
something
lot
with
of stuff.
radiation.
He was like, well, now she's blah 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 blah, entering deep sleep,
Yeah,
things like that.
it was pretty funny.
So who knows? Okay, question 2 then.
All right.
What was the name of the police officer who wouldn't let Nancy see Rod just before he died?
I have not paid enough attention to this film at all.
Well,
Gosh,
both haven't.
this feels like such a niche.
I mean, at least
God.
mine was said multiple times.
Was it? That's even worse for me because I have no
No,
idea.
it's not said enough that it's like, oh my god, I should know the name of that guy.
Noticeable,
But
right.
it's not. It's said more than beta waves.
Bit. That was true. That was said once. God, no, I don't even know. Is it at least like some generic name where I might have a chance if I just randomly guess?
I'm gonna say no.
Oh,
But
jeez. Gosh, I'm just gonna guess some sort of like. I can't come up with a fake name now because now that it's not obvious, I was gonna say like Officer Charles or something, but it's not gonna be that now, is it? Officer Charles. We'll go with it.
it was Garcia.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
That would not
yeah.
have-
Nancy's dad goes, Garcia, get the keys and stuff like
Right.
that.
Okay. But no.
And I think she might talk to him. Nancy might say to the desk, Garcia, you need to let me in and things like that.
All right. Right then. So my second question is about when Glenn and Nancy are talking. Essentially, I think it's on a bridge towards the middle part of the film, and
Okay,
Glenn.
I remember the scene.
Yeah, she's talking to Glenn about how she's sort of been having these dreams and she's acting pretty paranoid. And Glenn starts talking about this particular type of dreaming technique.
Oh, don't.
Can you remember what the people who practiced the dreaming technique were?
So I swear it was like a tribe somewhere.
Yeah.
I cannot remember what tribe. The Hollanese.
Oh, you're really close. It was the Balinese. The Balinese dreaming technique.
We can't be very entertaining the amount of questions we
No.
get wrong, right?
I mean, to be fair, hopefully the people at home are playing along and getting much better than we are.
Yeah,
That
if
would
you
be
like
really
Nightmare on
helpful.
Elm Street a lot more than we do, considering we've watched it once. Right, the final question will
Gosh.
be:
Let's see if we can actually get one right each.
how many jump roping girls are there the first time we see them?
How many of them are there?
Yes.
So I know at the end there's 3 of them.
So the whole 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, 3, 4, better lock your door, 5, 6,
But how
grab
many
your
voices?
crucifix.
Or how many people?
No,
are
just
there?
how many
Alright.
people the first time we see them? How many girls are there the first time we see them? 'Cause I think we
See,
see them 2 or 3 times in the film.
I think the obvious answer would be to guess 3, but then that wouldn't quite make sense. So I've got a feeling, and I want to say that there was 4 of them, but I'm not really sure that's right.
Is that your answer?
That is my answer.
Yes, there was indeed 4 of them the first time we see
God.
them.
I was
Well done.
thinking through, I was like, surely it's not just 3, but that would make too much sense.
Well, 3 is the obvious answer considering
Yeah.
you have 2 people with the rope and 1 person
Exactly.
jumping usually.
You
But
should have a spectator girl there too as well.
yeah.
It's really enthralling to watch someone jump up and down.
Oh, I'm pretty good at skipping, you know.
I can remember that from what, primary days.
From primary school. You know, 8 years ago now, mate. That's fine.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, so again, going back to the same scene I was just talking about,
Oh,
Nancy's
no.
talking to Glenn, and she's got this book that he picks up. What is the title of the book she's been reading?
Oh no. Oh no. It's basically like Home Alone trap book. That's what it
Essentially,
is. I swear it's something like it's like How to Defend Your Home or something, or like oh, I'm trying because it was a pretty like funny name.
It
Like,
was,
for
yeah.
something that you'd get for that. I don't know, like Home Defense and Easy Guide or something. I don't know. I can't remember.
It was booby traps and improvised anti-personnel devices.
Oh, that's it. That's
The most
such a
elaborate title, isn't it?
It's. But do you think that's what? Do you think that's what? That's what he had in Home Alone.
Oh no, I think that was just pure imagination and that.
Pure psychotic genius.
Genuinely slightly sadistic, some of the stuff he did in Home Alone, I'll be honest.
So then, asked after I've got all them questions wrong. You've got one right. Never
It's
helping
another
me.
great round of trivia, isn't it? Jeez.
How relevant do you think this film is today?
I mean, as you talked about in your rating section, there being like 8 or 9 other films, kind
Yeah.
of shows that there was definitely a market for this sort of stuff. I mean, I don't necessarily know if it's made much of an impact on the slasher genre, but obviously, as we've also talked about, that it helped bring New Line Cinema back up from kind of a relatively low point, which then has gone on to let them make so many other films since then.
Yeah, well, I think to my knowledge, like, you know, there was many slasher franchises that came out and things like that, but it was very much like Friday the 13th and this were quite big.
Alright.
Like that's why like Freddy versus Jason happened. It was,
Right,
you
yeah.
know, like the 2 big horror giants that have been pulling in loads of money during the 80s and stuff, like come together.
Mhm.
But I think, yeah, I do think it's definitely pretty relevant. And I know a lot of people like the other films as well, because sometimes you get with this, it really depends, because with films like this, Wes Craven directed the first one, but then I don't think any single director directed like more than one.
Right. Okay.
Maybe like maybe one of them did, I don't know. But it's like, so every different film usually has a different feel to it.
I mean, that's
So like,
kind of unique.
I guess
actually.
some people will have different favorites to which
Yeah.
one they like, because they're all
Purely
slightly
based on
different.
directors. All right.
Yeah,
I mean,
purely
actually,
based on the
that's
like the slight different like design changes that were made.
cool. All right.
Except I'm pretty sure Robert Englund did play him in every film.
Ooh. God, that's a lot
So,
of
you know.
knife hands going on.
Yeah, that's a lot of Freddy. That's it for the. I can't do it.
Yeah, we're sat here.
That was awful. That was awful. No, that was it for this. That was it for this episode of the 80s Cinema Club.
Yeah.
That was episode 29 on A Nightmare on Elm Street, and the first of our Spooktober, I guess. We don't have a name
We
for
don't
it.
have a name for it. We might have one by next week.
Spookytober, Spooktober,
Spookytober.
Halloween holiday fun. I
Halloweeny.
don't know.
Ooh.
Halloweeny. Jesus. Right. No.
Oh, man.
Yeah, thank you for listening as always. You are listening to this on some sort of platform, but you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music and Audible, Good Pods, a lot of little places that we probably don't know about.
Yeah.
And, message us if you want us to put it on anything else. We'll try our best.
Transcribe us into stone tablets and bury them underground for
We'll
new
make the
civilizations.
80 Cinema Club 10 Commandments.
Oh, wow. It's just the top
What should
10
we
best
make?
films. That's
The
all,
top
that's
10
all
best
it is.
films,
It makes
yeah.
no sense to anyone else.
No, obviously not. No, like we say, we're always thankful for your listening.
Yes.
I'm sure Alfie's thankful as well.
I am well, kind of. It depends really. If you're like a good listener, then that's all right. But if you're one of those people who like actually can't. I don't know how to define a bad listener. If you're someone who's, yeah, we'll leave it there because I can't think of anything. Right.
Alfie's trying not to offend anyone, apparently.
Yeah, I
We
don't
want
wanna
to keep
do it
all our
to them.
lessons.
Oh, again, this will be slightly delayed. One of this will release on Monday instead of Sunday because we
Yes,
had
so
our very special guest recording for
yeah, and me,
very long
you
in
know,
the future.
kind of took us quite a while to record that, and we were supposed to record this, and we're like, you know what,
Can't be asked.
we can't,
Yeah,
because
that time it
we
was
were
taken.
too tired and it was too late.
Yeah, after a 3-hour recording session for one episode,
Yeah.
we decided it might be best to leave it for a bit.
So, you know, look forward to that. I mean, it's not much of a delay, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, thank you for listening as usual.
Wait, did we
Next week
plug the
we will be
socials?
reviewing. Oh no, we didn't plug the socials. Well, next week we'll be doing The Evil Dead, and to keep up to date on that, you can follow us on our socials on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter/X, TikTok, and YouTube.
Yeah.
They're all at the 80s Cinema Club. One word. Yeah, next week The Evil Dead, second in the Spooktober, spooky time, spooky season, 80s Cinema Club.
We're just going to come up with a new name every time. But add it onto the
Oktoberfest.
existing ones. Oktoberfest.
Yeah, and you can listen
my
to my
gosh.
spooky voice again, and some
It might improve. It
some
probably
cool
won't, though.
royalty-free. Yeah, it probably won't improve. So thank you for listening, and we'll see
Yes.
you next week on time.
Goodbye. Well, maybe. Goodbye.